All right, Billy.
Yes.
Billy, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Charleston, West Virginia on Big Tyler Road.
Tell me about your childhood. You grew up with both your parents?
Yeah, I grew up with both my parents right up here above this trailer in a little one-room house.
How would you describe your childhood?
I had a good childhood. I was an only child, and I had a good childhood.
How far did you go in school?
I didn't go to school but till the 10th grade, and I got kicked out the first year for fighting.
What kind of stuff were you getting into after that?
Well, they sent me to what's called Cabell Adult up on Florida Street uptown, and I went up there and I started fighting too, just about every day. And you didn't have to go, they didn't have no authority up there. You just checked yourself out, and I started drinking liquor and getting out and smoking weed and doing a little angel dust, whatever.
And drugs became a part of your life at some point?
At some point in my later part of life, when I first started everything, it was just liquor, beer, wine, and a little bit of weed. And like I said, a little angel dust here and there and some LSD. It just progressed from there.
And eventually got into what, like heroin or stuff like that?
I didn't get into the heroin. I didn't inject any dope or drugs up until I was 48 years old. And my mom started dying of cancer, and I started doing a little injecting heroin and Oxycontin and stuff like that. And I didn't start smoking cigarettes till I was 48.
Oh, is that right? How old are you now?
I'm 57.
57. And you've stayed here in West Virginia?
I've stayed in West Virginia.
Have you traveled?
I have traveled. My mom and my stepdad have a house. I have two houses now. My mom's, like I said, is gone, but my stepdad has two houses now down Monterey Way, down in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Do you like this part of the country? You love it here?
This is my home. I do love it here, but I don't have anything here anymore. I've lost my wife of 31 years, and both my mom and dad are gone, and I really don't have anything here that's keeping me here. I keep saying I want to leave and go back down west or go up in the mountains, up Tucker County, Blackwater Falls, somewhere in the mountains.
Yeah. And throughout your adult life, what kind of stuff were you doing?
Oh my God! Every night I was getting out and drinking and going to these bars and stuff and running with biker gangs and fighting 2 and 3 times a night. It's a wonder I didn't get a real long stretch in the joint, but I did.
You've done some prison time?
Yeah, I did get a little pull back in the 80s. I got convicted of beating the guy with a ball bat. 3 guys took me up to Quincy and tried to get me, shot is what they done. And I took a ball bat. When I got inside, they nonchalantly just happened to be a ball bat in the corner. And I got a hold of the ball bat, and I like to kill all 3 of them. And I meant to kill the guy that they had set up there with a gun gonna kill me. So they give me 1 to 5. I've done 2.5 at the time.
Wow. And do you have kids of your own?
No, sir, I don't.
No kids?
No.
But you were married?
I was married for 31 years. I never did go get divorced from my wife. I was hoping she'd straighten up and come back home. They found her May the 30th, 3 years ago, dead.
What was that from?
Heroin overdose.
Heroin.
Yeah.
So tell me about the swastika tattoo you've got on your arm.
Well, that's something I got when I was in the joint, and I got with the AB up Huttonsville, and they took care of me. When you're in the joint, you gotta side up, or either you end up getting hurt, and that's where I got that back in '82.
So it's not necessarily your belief system as much as it was just a prison
Yeah.
community or group that you were in.
It's the group that was pretty strong in there.
Yeah. And what do you make of the future of Appalachia? You know, the drugs seem to be so out of control now.
They are.
And poverty seems to be as bad as ever.
Yeah, back when I was growing up, you never seen anyone walking around with backpacks on their back and not having no place to stay, homeless. Now you see it everywhere. And not only that, usually if you see someone with a backpack and say they're homeless, they're hooked on heroin, some of them's working, doing side jobs, and has money every week to buy them, or not buy them, but rent them a place. And they just soon put the dope up their arm.
Yeah, but it's a huge problem here, isn't it?
It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rare to find a family or a house that isn't affected by it.
It is, and you know, I'm not one to judge no one, but I see all this happening.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful part of the country.
It is.
And then you have this going on.
Yeah.
If you scratch the surface, and it's an interesting mix.
Yeah, and now, you know, Charleston, West Virginia, it's all over, but now like Huntington and different spots like down that way is where a lot of the dealers come in from out of state, and they stay, and like, no names being mentioned, but there's people around here that goes down to Huntington and gets it, and you know, you see it on the news all the time that it's a bad thing down there. A lot of people dying.
Yeah. Are you religious? Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do. I know if it wasn't for that man up there giving me grace and mercy, I'd been going a long time ago.
Do you have friends?
Yeah, I have some friends. You know, I can count them on my one hand. You know, I really can.
What are your biggest regrets?
My biggest regrets is the things that I've done in the past, the bad things, and getting on the alcohol and the drugs, and you know, I can't say racing dirt bikes and getting all broke up, because I did enjoy that, but getting out drinking and getting in these car wrecks and getting hurt, and a lot of the injuries I've got is from fighting. You know, I've been stabbed numerous times, and you know, I've had a lot of grace and mercy by the Lord.
What, you get depressed sometimes? What emotions do you go through?
Oh, yeah, I get depressed, and not only that, I've got high anxiety. You know, the anxiety is worse than anything. I feel like sometimes this trailer's sitting on me, you know. Need to move up here?
Hold on one sec. That's stopping. Or is it? No, the FedEx. See if we can stop and start. I think we're okay. It's just water.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at that.
All right.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Homemade umbrella.
What do you worry about?
I worry about my health these days. You know, I worry about my health a lot. I'm getting up, and all the old injuries and stuff I've had is catching up with me. And other than that, I'll be honest with you, I have learned, and I have trained myself not to let other stuff worry me like I used to, because, you know, it's the number one death. Stress is the number one death.
Stress?
And yeah, and if I would sit around and worry about everything that's going on around me and stuff that I've been through, I would drive myself batshit crazy.
So you've spent the majority of your life kind of what people would describe as a hellraiser.
Yeah.
And where do you think that comes from? Because you say your childhood was pretty
well,
nice.
I'll tell you. My dad and me sit down, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, and he talked to me about the drinking and the fighting, And he said, you know, Billy, I think I know where you got this crazy shit. And I said, where's that, Dad? And he said, your grandpa Goodson. He said, nobody knew where he come from. Nobody knew where he was born. He was from Virginia, and he was a steel worker. And he was a little man, and he drank whiskey, and he would come home from the bars. And my grandma had 8 kids, 5 of them I think was boys, and he would come home and jump on Grandma, and you know, when the boys got old enough, they all started ganging up on him and you know, whooping his butt when he would. And he died of cancer before I was old enough to ever see him. Ted Goodson was his name.
And the biker gangs that you were in, tell me, without getting into too many specifics, what kind of life that was?
Well,
or is?
You know, it was a rough life. You know, I never was patched up, but I run at a young age with different gangs. I knew a lot of older guys that was in different biker gangs. And not only, you know, did I get with them at times and run with them and go to their pig roasts and stuff like that. I knew a lot of them on personal level, and I would go to different ones and you know, stay weekends and party and drink and raise hell, listen to music, you know, and had a good time back then. But you know, you just had to watch your P's and Q's, dot your I's and cross your T's, or you end up with one ear cut off or something, you know.
If you could have lived your life differently, what would you have done?
If I could have lived my life differently, I'd have tried to stay in school and graduate and get a good job. I have good trades. I was a mason by trade. My dad taught me how to lay block and brick, but you know, I never did. When I was younger, I get jobs, good jobs, and back then I thought not paying into the government, just getting cash money was the way to go. And now here I sit, drawing $700 some damn dollars a month, can't even hardly survive. And back then I was making $700 a day laying block, you know. So I would do that different. I would have turned all my earnings into Social Security and stuff, and I would be drawing a pretty good check now, you know.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
Most important lesson I've learned in my life, and this is not no bullshit, is to stay away from the damn alcohol and the drugs, and to try to grow, when you're growing up, go to school, get your education, and get you a good job, because this old world out here is a rough motherfucker, and it don't care who it hurts or when it does it, the people in it, and it's getting worse. And that being said, if you're not out running these streets with these type of people and just doing this kind of stuff, you need to get at a good job where you can have a good life. That's what I would do different. I wouldn't run with the people I did and do the drugs and the bad shit. I would have me a good job, or at least I would have had a good job and be drawing a good pension now. That's what I would do different. And I would tell all of these youngins and younger people, God, whatever you do, listen to this old man, because I walked him steps and I know what's out there. Bad shit if you don't go down the right road. So stay away from them old people and doing these old bad things. I'm telling you right now, you'll prosper and you'll be glad you did.
All right, Billy. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome, sir.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and you take care.
Thank you, man.
All right.